Inverness Castle. It's actually a working building, made of sandstone, built in around 1834. When I say it's a working building, it's actually the Sheriff's Courthouse. So it is open to visitors, but not the kind you actually want to be, you know what I mean? Now there was a castle. That's George, he just retired. He was doing this job. Yes, there was a castle previous to this castle, and but it was burnt down in 1746 by the Jacobites themselves to stop it falling into the government's hands. And amongst their number they had a French explosives expert who laid the charges. And when the charges failed to go off, he went back to find out why. Took his dog with him. And while he was checking the charges, it not blocked and killed the poor man. Well, him and his dog actually landed on this side of the river, and the dog survived. So possibly that was the first dog in space. I know the Russians claim the one in the Sputnik, but I'm going to claim this dog. It's a Scottish dog. I wonder if it was a French dog. That could be a French dog, couldn't it? Anyway, that's the Ness Bank Church you see on the other side of the river there. You're just coming into view on the right hand side, just in front of me, St Andrew's Cathedral, built in 1869, at a cost of just over £15,000. Now if you look at the two towers at the front, they've never been completed. They should have actually had spires. Now the building itself cost just over £15,000, but it was in debt. £6,835 in debt, quite a lot. Which meant it couldn't be consecrated for another 5 years, 1874. And the reason being is you're not allowed to consecrate a religious building if it has debt. So I say it wasn't consecrated until 1874. Alexander Ross was a local architect, local man, educated at the Bell Institute. Now the Bell Institute, you might have noticed a library behind the bus when we're at the bus station. Well, that used to be the Bell Institute. That's where Alexander Ross himself was educated. Now this modern looking abstract building on my right is the Eat Court Theatre Cinema, built in 1976. Very nice, I think, actually. The old building you see attached to it, that used to be the Bishop's Palace. This is where it gets its name from the first bishop, the Bishop Eden. Just coming into view is an infirmary bridge here on the left, built in 1879 by the Inverness Ironworks, and it gets its name from the large building on my right. That used to be Inverness Infirmary, and this is before they built the new hospital at Raigmore, which is just a couple of miles on the other side of the river here. That's the War Memorial. You can see Clavel Gardens on the other side of the river. It's quite stormy, the river down there, isn't it? This is because it's so shallow. Water flowing fast over the rocks makes it look stormy. It might interest you to know that Scotland's actually made up of over 790 islands. And this includes the Western Isles and the Northern Islands. And here are the River Ness. Coming into view shortly on the left hand side are the Ness Islands, a small group of islands sitting in the River Ness. Now these islands are linked by a series of pedestrian bridges, and those first pedestrian bridges were built around 1829. So it really is a nice walk on a summer's day, along the river bank, over those old bridges, and back down the other side. And even if you feel romantic in the evening, nice thing to do. Get the camera out, lots of nice photographs, you can take water bubbling through rocks. Nice black and white photographs, a series of them in your hall would look quite nice. On my right is Buck Park. This is where we hold community football games, school get-togethers. Inverness Highland games are often held here in August. Over by the grandstand we had a shinty international match about a month ago. Very dangerous game of shinty. It's like hockey, but they're allowed to use both sides of the club. You can actually raise it above your head level. It's a very dangerous game. Even play American football here. It's American football, those yellow ones ahead of me. Over on the right, that green roof building is the Aquadrome. That's the swimming baths. And the white building next to it, that's Ice Centre, where they have ice sports, like curling. Here's one of these early bridges on the left now. Looking quite good for its age. Oh, but I look as good when I'm over 170. What's the chances? Everybody's shouting, done. Just coming up on my right is the New Highland Archive Centre. This is obviously going to be a first port of call if you want to find out who you are. If your ancestors came to this country, that is. Staff couldn't be any more helpful than they already are. Free tea, free coffee. It's also the registrars where they hold civil ceremonies. Their records actually go back to the 15th century, so you've got a good chance to find out who you are, that's for sure. Just in the corner is Swin Park. This is a children's adventure playground. Everything you would expect to keep children amused in here. Floating pond and the like. On my left, the rugby pitches. Now in the circus, all the funfair come to Inverness. This is where they hold it, here on the rugby pitches. Coming up on the right, the Floral Hall with its tea room and coffee shop. So if you've got a loose end, maybe a half hour to spare or an hour to spare, call in there, have a look at the cacti collection for example. Then past the leisure centre, followed by Queen's Park. This is where we hold our track and field events. So for a small population of just over 70,000, we don't do too badly. Rugby, football, shinty, and of course you'll see to our main golf course shortly. So I'm just about to turn left here, across the swing bridge. We're actually going to cross over the Caledonian Canal, which is frozen at the moment. This is one of two swing bridges subject to a curfew. Another bridge is ahead of me, about 2 miles down here, to my right shortly. When about a curfew, by that I mean they're not allowed to close both roads at the same time. Access has always got to be kept open for the emergency services. Now this golf course coming into view is actually one of the most dangerous golf courses in the world. Yes it is. This golf course is actually on both sides of this road. That's what makes this a dangerous golf course. People actually literally risk their lives running from one side to the other with their golf trolleys. And I could just explain, this road is actually the main Inverness to 4 million road. It gets extremely busy in the summertime. Lots of motorbikers, caravanners, people pulling trailers, all kinds of stuff. And people, I say, literally risk their lives. One day there'll be something horrific when I drive along here. I'll see golf clubs scattered all over the road. That would be nice to see at all. Up at my right, you see the hospital, that modern building. The old building next to the old Victorian building. That used to be a lunatic asylum. Apparently that's going to be turned into luxury apartments. Now they say they're going to be very expensive. People even say you need to be mad to pay those prices. And I thought, well, not much will have changed with the occupants in those times, will it? You have to be mad to buy it. You must be mad to live there 100 years ago. Now we just crossed the Caledonian Canal, as I said, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the Caledonian Canal, because we're sailing through the Caledonian Canal, albeit through Loch Ness, because the Caledonian Canal actually goes through Loch Ness, Loch Point and Loch Lochy, all the way down to Fort William. It's some 63 miles long. A third of it is man-made. Now the background to the canal, I'll give you some information about that. Now the canal was conceived during the Napoleonic Wars. There are two reasons for building the canal. The first reason is obviously quite easy to explain. Basically, the British Navy needed a safe passage to travel from east to west. And the second reason just takes a little bit longer to explain. Because of the Napoleonic Wars, the had reached a premium price. And this resulted in many landowners wanting to capitalise on this situation by throwing people off the land on tenanted farmers, what we call crofters. This is what is known as the Highland clearances. Now this led to massive unemployment. People were immigrating by the thousands, moving south, immigrating abroad to the US, Canada, Australia. So the government wanted to address the situation, and that was the second reason for building the canal. But it was a huge cost to the country, £910,000, which they say was the equivalent of the American space program sending a man to the moon. The construction involved building 29 locks, 10 bridges and 4 viaducts. Thomas Telford was the engineer, quite a famous man, responsible for other canals. I'm not sure how you say it, but in Sweden they've got a canal, a sister canal. Is it called the Guti Canal? Guti?
Could be.
Guti Canal. So that was Thomas Telford, this is supposed to be a sister canal. And the Ellesmere Canal, and various other bridge building works around the world.